Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be trying out some more new makeup. So I think you probably thought you saw everything that I got during the Sephora sale, but you have not. I have a few things here from Valentino that I bought at the very end of the sale. Have not tried them yet. And then I also have my stuff that I got at Disney last week that I showed in my travel makeup bag video. So we're gonna try all of these things out today. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty and makeup content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you'll subscribe and let's get started. All right, we're gonna start with this from Valentino. This is the V-Lighter Dual Use Liquid Light Face Base and Top Coat. If you have been around my channel for a few weeks, you may remember when I did my Sephora sale wish list. This was one of the products that was on it. I didn't end up buying it at the beginning of the sale, but then towards the end, typically on like the last day of the sale, I will place one last order, and that's what I did. And that's when I got these Valentino products. So we're gonna go in with this first. So I'm thinking this is either a priming type product, or it looks like you can use it over the top of foundation as highlighter, but we're gonna use it as primer today. So it looks like this. It's not a runny texture, but it feels very thin when you're applying it. It does have a very strong smell, which I'm not surprised by. I feel like most of these luxury beauty brands always want to put tons of fragrance in their products. This one smells very floral. I'm assuming it's probably one of the Valentino fragrances, maybe. Okay, so it's been on for probably a minute now, and it's definitely kind of dried down a little bit. I would say this looks very, very similar on my skin to the Say Glowy Super Gel, like extremely similar. The Say one, I don't really notice this much fragrance in it. I think it might have a little bit of fragrance, but it's definitely not as strong as this one. And the Say one, the texture is just a bit thicker. This is very thin going on, almost feels like a gel formula, but they kind of look the same. I feel like this one does have a little bit of like a pinky hue to it, which makes sense because this color is called Rosa. So there's this one, and then there's a darker one, I think, that's just more of a bronzy color. I do wish it didn't have as much scent, but it's pretty, so we'll see. I do not have a brand new corrector other than these, which you've already seen me try. This is the new Natasha Denona HyGlam concealer, or corrector, I mean. And I have two of them. I have C1 and C2. So I am gonna take just a tiny bit of both shades since I have them. I think I definitely prefer C1. C1 I can actually get away with wearing it by itself. C2 is a good bit orangier, but I figured since I have both colors, we'll use both. I'm gonna use this Smashbox concealer brush to just tap this in, and you can see how much that little bit of product spreads. Like, you need the smallest amount of this stuff, but you can see what a difference it makes. Okay, moving on to foundation. I also got the Valentino foundation. This is the Light Lasting Perfecting Foundation with SPF 26. Very random SPF. I'm a little bit concerned about this one. I feel like this is gonna be a little bit light for me now that I was in Florida for a week. I have more color than I normally do, so when I'm at my fairest, this will probably work, but I have a feeling this might be a little bit light, but we'll just have to go with it. So that is it there. It's very liquidy, and I have the shade LN2. I'm just gonna dot it on one side of my face. I have a freshly washed 106 from BK Beauty. I mean, it's not terribly light. I feel like I could probably maybe go up like one shade possibly. Looks nice. Let's do the other side. I'm just gonna get some on the brush and blend this in. This is a very thin formula, kind of similar to like the Pat McGrath. Okay, so there it is, blended out. I used everything that was on my hand, so that was one pump, and I think it looks pretty. I think this is a very, I would say, natural looking foundation. Honestly, it's kind of reminding me of the Pat McGrath Sublime Perfection foundation. That's kind of what it's reminding me of. It does not look like makeup at all. It's that thin, and it just kind of blends right into your skin. It's very interesting, but it looks pretty. It's just a very natural look, not like a very, I'm doing a glam makeup look kind of foundation. It's very natural. Okay, let's move on to concealer. I did also get the Valentino concealer, all day long light lasting covering concealer in the same shade. I definitely think this shade is just a little bit light right now, so I'm afraid it's probably going to be the same with the concealer. It has it's kind of a smaller doe foot applicator. It's kind of slanted like that, but it's pretty small. This looks extremely sheer. Just swatching it, the consistency is reminding me of Armani Luminous Silk. I'm just gonna, I feel like this is a very thin formula, so I don't think there's any danger of overdoing it with this one. I mean, it's very thin and definitely not a ton of pigment. I can just tell just by brushing it on, so we will see, but I think this is gonna be a pretty light coverage. All right, I'm gonna use that same brush we used for the corrector from Smashbox and just tap this in. One of the main reasons I was really intrigued about the concealer from Valentino in particular is because I kept noticing that during the sale, even before the sale, the Sephora sale, a ton of the shades in this were always out of stock, and they still are. And I was just so curious as to why. Like, is it that good that that's why it's out of stock? I don't know. Curiosity got the best of me for sure. Looks nice from afar. Let me look up close. It looks decent, I will say. I mean, I can tell like it is not much coverage at all. So if I didn't have those correctors on underneath it, I don't think it would cover like anything. So if that's what you're looking for, you might really like this formula. But it definitely, now that I've applied it and blended it out, it reminds me very much of Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. It looks nice with the foundation color because they're the same shade, but definitely not a lot of coverage. Also, I'm noticing that when you pull out the doe foot, you see how not very much product comes out? It's very little. I feel like you'd have to dip into it a few times. The formula it's hard to explain. It kind of almost feels like it's drying a little bit, even when you're just kind of brushing it on. I don't know, it's very interesting consistency. And I am letting this concealer kind of sit for 30 seconds or so before I blend it in, because typically with this sheer of a formula, if you want any coverage from it at all, you kind of need to let it sit for a minute before you blend it in. I mean, it blends in really nicely. It's just very, very sheer. I want to say on Sephora it says medium coverage. I don't know that I can tell you you're going to get medium coverage from this, because I don't know that I would say it's like full medium now, and I have that corrector on underneath. So I mean, up close, even with the corrector underneath, you can still see, especially on this eye, you can still see a little bit of that bluey purple color peeking through. So I don't know. I don't know that this is going to be enough for me personally for what I need. But if you like a really light, thin, just kind of illuminating type formula, you might really like this. Okay, I zoomed you in a little bit more. I feel like this is maybe one of those concealers that looks good from afar, but then when you look up close, it doesn't look that great. Like, I don't know if it will show up, but there's a place like right in this area where you can kind of see where I went over where I had foundation and tried to blend the concealer in, and it's not really sitting that well right there. It's not like extreme pilling, but it's just something isn't sitting super great. It's also not sitting great on the side of my nose here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I don't know about that. I don't know. Also, really close up, if you look, I mean, you'd have to look in like a handheld mirror like this, but the primer we applied underneath does have like tiny, tiny little glitter particles in it. Like, if you look super close, you can see glitter particles on my face, which they're tiny enough so that it's not super annoying to me, but just FYI. I am going to take a little bit of the concealer and add it to my face just to get a little bit more coverage, although this concealer honestly does not get very much at all. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but it's like, even when you're applying this concealer, it's like not much is going on there, and what's there is like almost dried. It's kind of weird. I don't know. So I mean, that applied essentially no coverage. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that concealer. Okay, let's move on to bronzer. So we're gonna use the Westman Atelier Face Trace Contour Stick, but we're gonna use the shade Truffle, which I have Biscuit already. You hear me talk about it all the time. I love it, but when we were in Florida, I was in Sephora, I was swatching all the Westman Atelier, and I was swatching the Truffle shade. I don't know, I was feeling kind of tan at the time. It came home with me, so here we are. Hopefully this will give me a little bit of warmth to my face, because I don't know, that foundation feels a little bit pale to me. I think I'm actually gonna put it on the back of my hand here. I'm gonna try applying it with this brush from BK Beauty. It's the A507. And I'm just kind of working it into this brush. Okay, yeah, so anytime I have a product like this that I'm worried is a little bit too much for my skin tone, or it's a little bit dark or whatever, this is a really good thing to do, is go ahead and work it into a brush like this and then apply it. And it's kind of, I don't know what it does, it almost just kind of shears it out a little bit, and it's almost like it's kind of blended already when you apply it, because when you built it up in the brush, it kind of, I don't know what it does, I guess it just kind of warms up the formula, almost like you're blending it in. I'm also thinking this color might be really good to underpaint with, since typically if you underpaint, you use a bronze or a contour that's a little bit darker for your skin tone, and it doesn't really matter because you end up kind of blending everything together and putting, you know, a foundation or a tinted moisturizer over the top, and it kind of tones down what you have underneath. So I feel like this would probably be a good product for that. Yeah, so that kind of gave me exactly what I needed actually. Okay, and then I did get a new shade in the blushes from Westman Atelier. My favorite is Petal, which you've seen me use and talk about all the time, but I also have Popette, which is a really bright pink, and this is Choo Choo? No, that's something else that I bought. Couchette. I think this is Couchette. I think that's how you pronounce it. With these, I mean, you can really apply these however you want. I think I am gonna take that same brush and just tap this on. Oh yeah, that is so pretty. I love this kind of color for summertime. Also, this brush from BK Beauty is really good for blending out creams like this. I do not have a new powder, so I'm just setting my face with my Kosas Cloud Set. Okay, before we move on with the eyes, I have one more thing I want to show you that is new, but I have actually already used this a few times. I just didn't use it in videos, but I have to show you this. So this from Haus Labs, this is one of the Bio Radiant Gel Powder Highlights, and this one is the shade Peach Quartz. You guys, this is maybe one of the prettiest highlights I've ever seen. This color, the formula is already really nice, but this, it's such a pretty, it's not like a true gold, and it's not a true champagne. It's kind of in between, and then the reflect in it is a peachy color. So if you haven't swatched these before, next time you're in a Sephora, swatch these highlighters because they're very unique. They just don't apply like a powder. Even though they don't feel like a powder. They just glide on and melt into your skin. They're just so pretty. So I'm actually going to use the 112 from BK Beauty. It's a little angled brush. I recently saw Lisa J here on YouTube. In one of her more recent videos, she was using this brush for highlighter, and she was saying she liked it for that. So I wanted to try it. I've not tried it with that yet. Like, do you see? It just gives your skin that kind of wet look, but it doesn't look like you've taken a huge brush and like swiped highlighter on your cheek. It just kind of blends. I don't know how it does it, but this formula is just very unique. It's really nice. And I just kind of tap it on so it actually looks like it's like coming from my skin and I'm not like just swiping it on. I love it, and later we're gonna put a little bit of it on the eyes because it is also so pretty as eyeshadow. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my brows real quickly. We don't have any new brow products, and then we'll move on with the eyes. Okay, I did my brows and then I applied a little bit of eye primer to my eyes. I used the one from Rare Beauty. So now we're gonna use this little palette that I made at MAC. So I've always wanted to make my own palette, and for some reason you can't order these online anymore. They have them on the website, but they're always out of stock. So you have to go to a MAC store to actually make your own palette, and I was finally near one. I don't have one near me, but they do have one in Florida at Disney Springs. But I did Malt, Naked Lunch, Sandstone, Wedge, Woodwinked, and Espresso. And I just love this little palette. I've been using it so much already while we were gone. I got this kind of towards the beginning of the trip and I just kept using it. So I am gonna first go into Sandstone, which is kind of a, I guess, more neutral brown, leaning a little bit on the warm side. And I'm just gonna apply this kind of all over. So I'm gonna put it on the lid and also kind of bring it up into the crease as well. Gonna get a little bit more. I'm using a really large fluffy brush from BK Beauty. This is the A503. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush and then I'm gonna go in with Wedge, which is kind of the same depth of color as Sandstone, but Wedge is just a little bit cooler. And I'm just gonna place Wedge in the outer corner here, just a little. I have to show you this highlighter as eyeshadow. It is so pretty, you guys. So I'm gonna take the House Labs and just look at this. It just gives the prettiest wet look on your eyes. And you can like really build it up and get a lot of color, or you can just barely kind of tap into the pan and tap it on and you get just kind of like a sheer wash of sparkle. But I mean, look at that, you guys. This is such a beautiful highlighter, but honestly, it definitely doubles as a really pretty eyeshadow. Honestly, you could just wear this on your eyes on its own, but how stunning is that color? I'm going to take this little pencil brush. I'm going to go into Naked Lunch, which is the lightest shade I have in here. And I'm just going to kind of add just a little bit of this to the very inner corner. I'm going to take Woodwinked, which is the metallic shade I have in here. And I'm gonna use an angled brush and kind of try to do a really soft shadow wing with this. And the color is not super dark, so it's gonna be very like soft looking. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of Espresso, which is the darkest matte brown I have in here. It's not super dark, but I'm gonna take that and kind of stamp it along my lash line, like literally as close as I can possibly get to it. And then I'm gonna go into Woodwinked again with a small little pencil brush. And I'm gonna apply that on the bottom lash line. And then I'm gonna take that very first brush that we used and just kind of go around and blend everything a little bit more. Now I'm just gonna curl my lashes. And for mascara, we're gonna use the YSL Lash Clash in brown. This is not a brand new product, but I have been using it for a few weeks now and I love this. This is definitely a new favorite for sure. One coat. So good. And last, for the lips, I have a few new lip products. The first thing is this lip liner from One Size. It's the Lip Snatcher Precision Lip Filler Liner in the shade Out of Line. I have not tried this formula before, but I want to try it. These are relatively affordable for Sephora. I think they're like $14 maybe a little bit more, but they're not outrageously expensive. Let's try it. Okay, yeah, so it's very creamy, which is interesting because sometimes with wooden pencils like this, they can be a little bit on the dry side sometimes, but that one is not dry at all. I really like that formula a lot. So I have a new Pat McGrath lipstick, but I really want to use this Westman Atelier on my lips just because it kind of ties everything together, and these are meant to be used on your lips and your cheeks. So I think we're gonna go with this. Oh yeah. I love that color even more on my lips. Oh my gosh, that is so nice. Love that. And then I do have one other new Westman Atelier product. It's one of the Squeaky Clean lip balms. I have one of these already in the shade Nana, which is just a kind of a beigey color. This one is like a true baby doll pink. These are very luxe and just, they're bougie, okay? But they're really nice. So it looks like this. This one is just a really light pink. So these are kind of a combination of a lip gloss, a lip oil, and a lip balm all in one, and they have just a little bit of color. I love that lip combo though. Wow. All right, you guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I want to kind of go through the things that we tried and give you my thoughts. We'll start with the Valentino products, the primer or the V-liter, whatever you want to call it. This is pretty. I mean, my skin, I like how it looks today. I am not so blown away though with that highlighter that I think it's worth the money. I mean, it's very expensive for what it is. And I mean, I will use it because I bought it. I am not blown away with it though. And I think based on the fact that you can get the glowy super gel from Say for not, I mean, a totally different price point, but less than this one, and get the same effect without all the fragrance, I would probably go that route instead. But it is pretty. I like the way it looks on my skin, but I'm not like blown away by it. The foundation from Valentino, I mean, it looks really nice. It's just not one that like blows me away initially. I feel like it's kind of right in the middle. It's not like, oh, I don't like that at all, but it's definitely not, oh, I'm over the moon excited about this, can't wait to use it again. Kind of falls right in between. It looks fine. I like how natural looking it is. I like that it's such a thin formula that honestly, I think that's what makes it look so skin-like, is because it is so thin and watery. So if you like the Pat McGrath foundation, that one is similar, and that one has SPF in it. It's only SPF 26, so you shouldn't rely on foundation for SPF anyway, but just as an added bonus, that one does have SPF in it. But yeah, I kind of feel indifferent about it. I'm not super in love with it, but I don't hate it. I'm kind of right in between. So I'll keep using it and let you know. But I do think I can probably say at this point, I was going to say I'm not in love with the concealer. It looks nice on my under eyes. It's not that it looks bad. It's just, for the price point, I feel like it needs to give me a little bit more. I feel like it gives such little coverage, and the coverage that I do have, I feel is definitely coming from these, from Natasha Denona. So I don't know. It looks nice. Like it's kind of dried down under my eyes. I did not set with powder under there. So I did powder the rest of my face, but not my under eyes. and it looks nice. It has not creased significantly. I just feel like there's not a lot to it for the price point. So of the three things, I probably like the foundation the most, but I'm not blown away by any of them, to be honest. Okay, the Westman Atelier, these are not new to me. They're just new shades. I love them though. I think I've said it before, I'll say it again. These are amazing. Yes, they are expensive, but in my mind, the colors, the blend, the formula, they're clean. The packaging is very luxe, very nice. I personally think they are worth the price. And I am actually very excited to own Truffle now, just because it's very different from Biscuit. And I feel like during this time of year, going into summer, the more bronzy color is nice to have. I also really want to try Truffle with underpainting, so maybe I'll do that in another video, but very impressed with that. And I love the blushes. I've said it over and over again. I think these are 10 out of 10. No complaints whatsoever. And I love this color on my lips. Almost like it on my lips even more than on my cheeks. But regardless, these are amazing. Definitely do not regret purchasing those. One of the most surprising things though in this video is this. I don't always wear powder highlight. Sometimes I will skip it. A lot of times I have super glowy products on my face already, so I find I don't really need a powder highlighter, but this one is special, you guys. This formula, very unique, worth the money in my opinion. Very different from any other powder highlight that I've tried, and it's just an added bonus that it is absolutely beautiful as eyeshadow. So this, next time you're in Sephora, just go swatch one of these from House Labs. I love this, very happy with that. What else? Oh, the little MAC palette. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary. Obviously, these shades have been around forever. MAC has been around forever. I have just always wanted my own palette, and I'm really happy with this. Yes, it is very neutral because that's what I like. That will never change. I just love this. I'm really happy to have this now, and I will make sure I list the shades below for you if you're curious. But yeah, love these, and such a great everyday palette, a good traveling palette. Very happy to have this now. Did I try anything else? Oh, the lip combo, love it. Love it. I have no complaints. The lip liner, really nice. Obviously, I haven't worn this before, so I don't know if it lasts well or not, but I loved the application. It was very easy, very creamy. I like it, but I'll let you know if it wears well. We'll see if it lasts on my lips. The blush on my lips, absolutely love the color, and I really like it paired with this lip liner, which the lip liner is the shade Out of Line. I don't know if I said that. And then the Westman Atelier Balm Gloss, whatever you want to call it, in Choo Choo is the color that I have. I mean, this is very unnecessary. I know. It is very expensive for what it is. I am 100% aware. I just am having a total love affair with Westman Atelier right now. So I saw it. It came home with me, and I don't regret it. I love it over the top of this. This color is this really beautiful light pink. It's kind of similar to the Dior Maximizer in 001, the gloss I've loved for a very long time. The color on that is very similar to this. This one does not plump though, like the Dior one. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will have everything linked and listed for you in the description box. They are affiliate links, which means if you do shop through them, I do make a small commission. So thank you if you do choose to do that. Make sure to subscribe and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you next time for another video. Remember, simply be you.